Thanks so much. We're sitting in their studio in Temecula, California. It's kind of a full circle moment because I'm coming back home. So it feels great to be here.
Yeah.
And you've done such a great job with the studio. It looks great. Just to do a little bit of an icebreaker, kind of warm us up to to the podcast, we typically start with some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So, not the perfect answer, but whatever comes to mind first. So now we're back in Southern California. We've kind of been out in the open range in Eastern Oregon. We've come through Washington State down Idaho. Dallin has some family out in Idaho, and the roads are a little different. There's no traffic, right? And now we're back in Southern California.
There's a lot more people.
A little bit, just a few more people. So I wanted to start with a would you rather.
Okay.
Would you rather never be stuck in traffic again, or never have another cold?
Oh, man.
I would say never have another cold, because when I'm in traffic, that's the only time I'll talk to people on the phone. Okay. I do all my phone calls when I'm sitting in my car.
That's awesome.
So otherwise I just don't answer. Terrible.
He's all business.
I would say never get a cold too, just because as a singer, that'd be nice to know. I never have to worry about getting sick and having to perform.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And you're kind of primed to the traffic. I feel like
we are used to it.
Yeah, when we go anywhere else, we're like, what are you guys complaining about?
Yeah.
We're like, we don't understand.
Right. So. It's true. But coming back, I'm like, whoa, I got used to the non-traffic really quickly. All right. So speaking of road tripping, so we went through Idaho, and now I have to ask, I know you have some roots in Idaho.
Yeah.
True or false? Idaho is part of the Pacific Northwest? What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know if it's wet enough to be a part of the Pacific Northwest. Yeah. I feel like whenever you're in the PNW, you're just constantly getting sneezed on by God.
Yeah.
And Idaho, it can get pretty hot, but you still have some of that quirky, artsy vibe, like in Boise in the downtown area.
Definitely.
So maybe half of Idaho is, and the other half is not.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what makes it part of the Pacific Northwest. I feel like Washington State is also split between Western and Eastern. Definitely Oregon is Western, Eastern.
It's the gateway, at least. So I remember driving an hour to Oregon all the time as a kid to get into Oregon, and it's cool that it's right there.
Yeah, it is. I think it's the gateway. I'll at least call it the Northwest.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, definitely part of the Northwest. It's not on the ocean.
You guys did not help me out on this. So, our son, he's 6 years old. He has watched. Again,
what's his name?
His name is Jonah.
Jonah. Awesome.
Jonah, and he has watched Daily Bumps forever, and we have followed your music forever. So I have had for my pick up Jonah from school, preschool and kindergarten, pick up Jonah from school ringtone has been "This Is Home" for 3 years.
That's awesome.
But it made me kind of curious, what are your guys' current alarm tones? Any alarm. Daniel?
Oh, no, mine is just literally the most annoying. But you know what? I'm extremely blessed because I don't have to set alarms for anything. My kids are my alarms in the morning, which is much more pleasant than the phone. So if we go somewhere and we have to be somewhere at a certain time, then I set an alarm because I'm extremely punctual, extremely. So I just have the loudest, most annoying one, and then that just makes me get out of bed. But what a terrible way to start your day.
I love that you're no, I don't need the alarm.
I had a song for a long time. You could set a song to be your thing, and then I did, and I was like, no, it's still just really annoying to wake up to loud noises, period. And so I've just been able to can it and not really have too many alerts. And then being in the studio, my phone is on silent all the time. So
right.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I set a song as my ringtone 2 years ago on Halloween, and it has been the same ever since. It's "This Is Halloween."
Yes.
But the ringtone version of it, and my kids love it to this day. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find some ringtones you just never ever change.
Yeah. It's Halloween themed even, and it's middle of July. It's ringing. Yeah.
It's always Halloween. It's okay.
It is.
Yeah.
This is the nightmare we live in.
True.
Oh, what a downer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
It's all good.
Well, we're getting into the thick of things.
Okay.
So
let's do it.
if you guys, well, it's still rapid fire. If you guys can replace any musician in any band, even a solo artist, for one day, who would that be?
Replace them like as yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Would I be equally as talented? Do I
bring
assume some
something-
sort of magic power?
Oh, maybe.
Because I mean, I
I
would
didn't
definitely
consider
sing
that.
for Queen if I could pull off Freddie
Heck
Mercury,
yeah,
but I
dude.
don't think I could
You
pull off.
could.
Or at least slap the bass.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Something. I could be in Queen. I mean, I think Queen is just kind of just something about their live shows is probably one of the coolest things ever. So it's like, yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
That'd be really cool.
I would probably say Brendan Urie in Panic.
Yeah.
I know all those songs like the back of my hand, and I've seen him perform a couple times, and I feel like I could go out there and give it a good shot.
I think so. I could hear that style in your
Thanks.
voice too.
He's got the range. He could do that.
And
Yeah.
I think you could do Queen easy. You
And
bring
even if I
something-
couldn't, I'd still try.
You bring something new to the table.
There you go.
Bryan, you have a third child on the way. So I wanted to know, how has your work or the way you work evolved as your family has grown?
I think I've just had to be really smart about how I do things and how I create. And one of those things was getting the studio together because I needed a place to go and work without kids running around. We were doing vocal sessions in the playroom after the kids would go to sleep some nights. Like, it would get very chaotic. So just having our own space is really great for that. And I would say, too, I have an amazing support with my wife, Missy. Like, she wants me to pursue my dreams, and she wants the kids to be a part of it and recognize that their dad is doing something out of the norm, you know? Like, not a lot of dads get to do what I do for a living. So I feel really blessed, and I've got a great support at home, so that definitely helps.
Totally. Shout out to Missy.
Yeah.
That is awesome. It really makes all the difference. So
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, kids are challenging, but obviously we'd be pretty empty without them. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It'd be too quiet. Even with all the music we make, it'd still be too quiet. So.
Yeah.
And it's weird because sometimes they come here and it's like, we wonder what that's like for them. Like, what is their perception of that? And, you know, when they're adults, they're going to be like, oh, I used to always go to the studio and hang out. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's kind of interesting. So it's interesting to see how they would like internalize it themselves and then how that'll shape them into either creatives or not creatives, depending on how they receive it. So,
Yeah, they may run the other way.
yeah, they could.
my core memories.
It's not for everyone, that's for sure.
Traumatizing.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
No, well, that makes me wonder. Do your kids know like who you guys are? Does that make sense? Like, do you have a
Yeah, I
grasp
think
on
my
that?
kids know exactly who I am because
Yeah.
there's no face. I don't walk in as a different person. Like, I'm always
good.
unapologetically myself to pretty much everybody. And, you know, I got a little bit of a mouth sometimes too, so I just hope they don't pick that up. But
That's okay.
the point is that even my wife is a director of theater, and so it's like we are around an eclectic group of people at all times. And then my biggest thing is just making sure they understand who they are at the end of the day, not who I am. You know, like, I'm okay. Like, I already set my own course, but I just want to make sure they stay on a straightened path and, you know, understand how life works. And there's just a lot of different kinds of people doing different things, and we're just kind of one of those weird ones.
Yeah. No, they treat me like Joe Schmo still. They're like, that's dad. You know, we've done a really good job, I think, at even with the YouTube side of things, like separating them from that. They go to parks and playgrounds a lot, and they're recognized, and they have friends who watch them, and they'll instantly just become buddies and stuff. But they haven't really put two and two together that they even have some sort of clout in this industry. So yeah, that's my plan. Keep them humble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. But I mean, in the world we live in, I think it's just so drastically different. Like, how would we even know what
Yeah.
that looks like? So collectively, you've both been in the music industry for like decades.
Yeah.
So, and we're just so honored to sit down with you and learn from your expertise and your fountain of knowledge. But you've been around for
I
kind
think
of
they have the wrong people.
Oh no. Fake it till you make it.
Who are these guys? No, but you have been around to watch the music industry change with the addition of social media.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How do you think social media has changed how people have made music? Or has it?
Yeah, I think that 10, 20 years ago, music was made for the masses. Mm-hmm. And now I feel like music is being made for these really tight niche groups of audiences. And they're finding those audiences on social media. They wouldn't be there before, because not everyone just turns on the radio in the car or the radio at home and listens to music while they're cooking. Or
it's made things easier and harder at the same time. It's like, okay, yeah, I can go out and build an audience that I never could have built before without physically touring, around the country, around the world. But at the same time, so can everybody else. And when you deal with that, now you deal with a lot more people creating music than ever before. Mm-hmm. So like anybody with a USB microphone and laptop, they can make a record.
Yep.
They just have to know how to be better than everybody else with a microphone and a laptop.
And also how to explain it to a crowd. I mean,
it's got to translate.
That's half the battle now.
Absolutely.
And then you got to learn how to market yourself and do all the things that social media comes with. Anybody who just goes on and goes, check out my new single, well, that's what everybody does. What are you doing different? Like how are you expanding your reach? And so social media has been kind of a blessing and a curse. So it's like the best people, the best musicians are probably the worst marketers. You know what I mean? They're not the ones that are like able to just go out and be like, let me get on camera and do all these things. They're very much like recluses. They sit in their bedrooms and they write songs and they don't want to be a part of that. So we don't even get to probably experience, massive amount of some of the most talented people in the world.
Absolutely.
True. Yeah.
There are a couple of things you said there. You brought up touring. And so that makes me wonder, like, on the other side of that, social media is just so accessible all around the world. How has it changed live music, though? How do you think it's changed live music?
Well, I don't know. I think that it's, again, you can play live with a lot less paid promotion. You know what I mean? Like, if you're if you already have your online following, you just let them know I'm going to play, and then they either show up or they don't. Whereas before, you used to have massive marketing budgets just to let people know you were even coming to town. So it's like shaved off a lot of the finances on that side, which is great. The other side is sometimes maybe they go, well, I see you perform on live all the time. I don't really need to go to your show. You'll come back around again. Or you're too accessible at some point. And so, again, the blessing and the curse. It's like you have the ability to showcase yourself and your talents in so many different ways, but then takes away that novelty of seeing you in person sometimes.
Oh, totally. So. I don't know who we were talking to the other day, but I was saying, I don't remember every single song I've ever come across streaming. I mean, there's a lot of great music out there, but I just don't remember every single song. But I remember every single time I've seen live music. It's just left an impression, even if it's someone busking on the street or something like that.
I was just saying, it's really hard to remember the name of the person on social media to go look them up again. Like, you're scrolling, you're like, oh, that guy's awesome. Keep scrolling, and then you're like, wait, what was that guy's name that I just saw that was super awesome? When I'm trying to show it to somebody, and I'm like, oh, I can't find him.
Oops, I didn't like it, so I can't go find it.
I didn't take all the proper steps I'm supposed to do.
But they know you watched it 3 times, so they're going to serve you something else of his in a week.
That's right. That's true. So that's good. That's a good thing.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, so for better or worse, so how do you guys think social media has changed the way people collaborate?
I mean, it's definitely made people more accessible.
Yeah.
So if you have someone you want to collaborate with, getting their attention by commenting or liking or sharing is always really helpful. And people want to work with people who support you too, So it's almost like showing face without being there.
The Zoom co-write was such an awful situation.
It was very corporate.
Well, especially because of the
corporate songwriting
delay as well. So it's not like you could sing and play together and be like, oh, there's massive latency, and you're like, all right, well, the girl on the other end was like, let me sing this, play the chords. I'm like, well, I can't because you're going to be behind me.
Shoot.
And so it was kind of just a weird thing. And so I don't know. We've always just deferred to let us know when we can get together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll do it then. We've had we did one other Zoom right, and it was a disaster.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
I'm just going to say Cats and Taylor Swift. That's
Cats and Taylor Swift, yeah.
But,
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only thing that we can divulge out of that. But ultimately, at the end of it, it felt like a total waste of our time.
Yeah.
And that was unfortunate. And so after that, we didn't really even try to.
Which is kind of nice because had she been in the room, it could have also been a waste of time. And so we actually saved time doing it on Zoom, maybe. I don't know.
Might have been bad.
Yeah.
Phone call.
I don't know.
But see, we go to Nashville sometimes, and we always set up our co-writes out there. So it's like,
nice.
okay, at least we know what we're doing in advance. And we set up those meetings with people so that we can do it in person. And
Good.
we've had people reach out, will you do a Zoom, right? We're like, no, like just come see us. Or
Face to face is always just so much better. People are going to remember you more. You're going to be able to get more input.
Well, Daniel, speaking of writing in the studio, you opened your first studio in 2009.
Yeah.
Are there any lessons that you learned or experiences that you've carried over into Cali Co as you run it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I learned how to do everything wrong the first couple times, and that's just part of it. You have to. And so I applied all those same growing pains to, when we first started talking, it's like, are you sure? What do you want a studio for? Because there's a big difference in running a studio for a public, business and then running it for your own creative space. And so, at the same time, I told him, like, great, do it as your creative space, but you're not going to be here all the time. So why don't we at least open it up and make it accessible to some of these really great artists that are out here?
Yeah.
And it gets used. People come here all the time. We have a lot of sessions, and we just have to manage our schedules and do all that. But I think that owning a recording studio, especially of this caliber, I mean, it's a big space with a lot of great gear. And a lot of people would say it's a dying business because we go to Nashville and it's expensive. And it's like, really, why are you charging these rates to people who clearly can't afford this? And they don't. They just cater to the labels out there and the people who do have money. And then in Nashville, I'd say they probably lost. I mean, easily 50% of their studios went away over the past 5 years. And it's like, well, it's because you expect, some kid that came into town with his guitar on his back to pay $130 an hour. Like, that's not going to work. Like, if you want to create a great creative space, make it affordable, but still don't hurt yourself in the process. Like, get some overhead, make some profit, but at the same time, make sure it's just doable, and you'll have so much more volume and more people that want to use it. And as a result, we run into a lot of collaborators. We run into a lot of people that were like, oh, let's do something together because you're really cool. And we never would have done that at, $150 price tag,
Right.
So it is what it is. But definitely learned a lot. And I think this time we definitely did it really well. It's a great space. People enjoy it. We've never had one person leave here frustrated with anything.
Yeah.
So
Flipping tables, flipping gear.
got those 5-star Google reviews.
Yeah. I'm super thankful for Daniel and the experience that he's brought over to Cali Co, and even just working together for so many years. Like, he's helped shape me as an artist, helped shape the business, and it's been really cool kind of growing together in that aspect.
Yeah, we learn a lot
That's
from each other all the time.
Your guys' mission has, I feel, just sitting here, how authentic you are, and that those experiences, they just come through. And I think you're just executing, you're fostering it very well.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
I really admire your work.
There's something to be said about not trying so hard. Everything that we do is not about trying so hard. It's just about being who we are. And if a song comes out and it's terrible, oh well, that song was not good. Let's move on to the next one. And some people can't handle that. They go, no, I have to write the best song or do the best all the time. And no. The bad songs just make you a much better songwriter.
Yep.
For sure.
So you finally are able to be fully immersed in your music and have the creative, like, physical space. Cali Co is alive. It's open. It's thriving. But what would you, if you had to write a letter to your 2013 Bryan self,
Okay.
what are some things you would tell yourself about where you are now?
I would say do it, because you already did it, And I feel like that kind of confidence is what I would have loved to hear, because as an artist, as a businessman, as a father, you're always second guessing your decisions. And I feel like I let a lot of that slow me down in the past. And so I would definitely say, believe in yourself a little bit more, Release that song that's you've been sitting on for 4 years, finally. That'd probably be some good advice too.
Yeah. Tables.
Yep. I would say, like, as an artist, I've definitely had to deal with perfectionism a lot, putting myself on, a tier that I don't need to be on to release music.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm at the point finally where that doesn't slow me down. It doesn't stop me. And so being able to grasp that a little sooner would have been nice. I don't know.
It would have happen?
That's a deep question.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you for that.
You're in the hot seat.
Yes, I am.
Podcast and therapy all in one. It's perfect.
No.
That's what songwriting is, therapy.
exactly what
So
it is,
I love it.
It is. And
Yeah.
we are
Totally.
so thankful that you took those leaps.
Yeah.
Every fork in the road that you face, we're so thankful because you've touched so many lives. So
Well, thank
on
you.
the Cali Co Instagram profile, you have a post. It's like unspoken rules for a recording studio.
Oh, yeah.
It has things like no drinks on the console, don't touch the speakers.
Yeah.
Can you help our musician listeners out and tell us kind of like less basic etiquette, I guess? What are some things that they might not know that's
Like
etiquette?
unspoken.
Like truly unspoken, not obvious.
For the recording
etiquette.
studio or for the music business, period?
Ooh, well, I'll say recording studio to make it a little bit easier.
Cool.
Okay.
Recording, yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those common sense things, and a lot of people just don't use that sometimes. And it's really bizarre to watch where you're like, okay, we have a specific amount of time, we got to do something creative. And they're like, cool. And they come in late, and then they come in and they still need to write a line. And then they come in, can my friends come by? There's something, they want to check it out. And then
Yeah.
that turns into a conversation with their friends. Next thing you know, they've done 30 minutes of work in 3 hours. And
It's
then they
12
go,
and they're like, beer time? Are we having
my
beers?
well, they go, it's too, I don't think I got enough time, and now it's too expensive. And then they just don't finish their own projects because they totally mismanaged everything about their project. It happens all the time. All the time.
Whoa.
And then for us, I'm the one that's like, yo, let's do this.
We know what our time is worth and
Yeah.
where our priorities need to be, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, we definitely vet certain projects and go, okay, like you're not ready to be here yet, and we mean that in the kindest way possible, which is like, I had a meeting with you, we talked to you, and from what I gather, you still have some work that you need to do on your end, because otherwise you're going to spend all of your money and be broke before we even get into the actual production of this. It's like, go do all that at home for free. So like, and it's a testament to what we're doing, which is like, we're not just trying to get your dollars. Like that, you can come in here all you want, but I have no interest in sitting here to not create with you. I don't want to sit here and watch you write the last 3 lines of your chorus and then have to learn how to sing that. Like, I'm not sitting here to just kind of hang. Like, I'm sitting here to help you execute an idea and turn it into a tangible product. So go home. Don't worry about the money. Just go home and come back when you're ready, and then spend your money on the stuff that.
Yeah. I would say that foundation is the most important, knowing how a song gets made. And a lot of people kind of are just naive to it, and they just jump in and skip a couple steps.
Their perception is very much like movie-like. You're like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You don't
And I've
just go
thought
in the
that too
booth.
in the past, you know, before I was producing music with Daniel.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really know what I was doing, so I had to learn those as you grow into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other stuff too is it's just all preparation. That's like literally everything that it gets overlooked. Your time in the studio is just about letting go and understanding that this is the fun part. This is not the work part.
Yeah.
And I think people get it backwards. They go and they write a song and they go, well, now when I go into the studio, I have so much to like figure out and work. It's like, no, you don't. This is where you've already figured it out. Now just lay it down. Get that vision out of your head.
The best takes we've ever had are because we've been doing it for months already and we know it.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
like today's the final day.
Yeah.
Everything we do is going to be set in stone.
Right.
And it comes out perfect because we were prepared.
I think it's more of a
Yeah.
producer's job to figure out some of the magic that happens behind the scenes and go, okay, if you're working with people that you trust, they'll help you craft it all and put it together. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing too, is artists are like, oh, no, I'm going to produce this myself. Well, how many records have you produced? Well, none, but okay. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
And it's more because of financial worries than anything. Well, I don't want to pay the
Totally.
extra money.
Yeah, we don't
for
want
a
people to waste their
producer.
money.
Totally.
And there's so many different reasons why they'll deny something that ultimately will save them time and save them money in the long run and make their product better. But it's a lot of pride and ego as well. I mean, that's an artist mentality, is to go, I know how to do this. I'm going to do it myself. And it's like, all right, cool. Run with it. See how it goes.
Holy cow. Yikes. Don't do that. Prepare. Like,
Just be prepared.
it's just so expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
You have no idea how awkward it is to sit in a session where somebody's not prepared. I go, you know what, guys? I'm going to stop right now.
Tough love.
And I'm going to say, I want you to go take this and go back and work on it and then call me when you're ready and let me know if I could help you. But like, it's super awkward because then they feel really bad. And then it's like, I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm trying to help you. And then they ultimately appreciate it in the long
run. In turn, I wish people would have said that to me early on, you know? Yeah. So I love that candor and that transparency with them.
Yeah. That's it's just not an easy conversation, but ultimately it has to be done.
Exactly.
But you build major trust with an artist that way. Being able to say no to an artist, like we've had plenty of times where we're like making the Us record that we were like, that line's not going to work. Well, why? And then we will talk about it. We did a lot of things, and then he'd be like, but that's not going to work for me. And I'd be like, okay, let me listen to what I did and figure out why that's not going to work for you. But understanding how to have open communication is so unbelievably important. And that's a music business thing as well. Studio and music business. Being able to just say what you got to say when you got to say it and not hold back might sting in the moment, but it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
For sure.
There's a quote out there, and I am probably going to butcher it, but it's something along the lines of, you know, the most successful people have had the most quantitatively, like the most awkward conversations, the most uncomfortable conversations. Sure. So you guys have learned those lessons, and that's great that you're sharing it with other people.
It's great. It's great marriage advice.
Yeah. Open communication.
Yeah, we're both happily married probably because of that. It's just gotta say what you gotta say because that fixes the problem.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we'll go at it with other people in the room and they're like, "What's happening?" And it's like, "Oh, we're not mad at each other. We're just trying to figure out the song." And I think we tell every artist if we're gonna work together, we better argue at least once because that means we all care. And if we don't argue, then that means one of us just does not care about this song or about the project, whatever it is. So it's just part of it.
I love that. Is there any piece of advice or like a one-line quote or something that has made an impression on you in your life or something that you've developed over the years that has served you well that you can share with the world today? There's just one message. My favorite quote has
actually been recently, and it's changed a lot of the way I look at things. And again, I might butcher it as well, which is you'll stop caring about what people think of you when you realize how little they do. And it's like, yeah, most of the time nobody's really thinking about you. So to think that you're creating something or you're doing something and somebody's going to have some perception of that or they're talking about you when you're not around. Guaranteed 99% of the time you're not even a thought in their brain. Yeah. So just do what you're going to do the way you want to do it. So
that's awesome. I would say there is this quote that's been following me around. A person who asks a question is only a fool for a second, but a person who never asks the question is a fool for a lifetime. And I feel like that's so empowering because you just got to ask. You got to put yourself out there. Like, you have to be able to be embarrassed. And I think those are the times that I've always grown the most, is when I want to ask questions and get into the nitty-gritty of it and not feeling insecure about what I know or what I don't know.
Definitely.
You know?
I'm going to immediately apply your advice. And we just recently relocated to Nashville. You said you visited. Oh, yeah. So what's a good place to eat?
Where isn't good to eat?
Help.
Everything is good.
Hattie B's.
I was going to say Hattie B's. You gotta go.
Hattie B's.
You gotta like chicken sandwiches. Brian's the chicken sandwich.
Ooh, we like them.
Fried chicken is my family. Okay, we fam. Yeah. But out there in Tennessee, definitely hit up Biscuit Love too.
I was like, where would we eat? We've eaten at a bunch of places. Yeah, Biscuit
breakfast
Love
is
awesome.
Amazing.
I mean, chicken for breakfast for sure.
Yep. Yeah,
like they have like chicken and waffles sort of thing. And
I mean, I grew up in Idaho, so I grew up on a lot of biscuits and gravy. So I feel like I know when it's hit or miss.
We mostly just have chicken and barbecue when we're there.
Yeah.
It's like 5 days in a row of just bad food. But
and lots of whiskey.
Martin's Barbecue. We got some shirts from there.
Don't eat the hot dogs outside of Tin Roof at 2 a.m., okay? Because it will not end good.
I know.
Write it down.
Okay.
Write it down.
Street food is not
You're going to want one. It's going to smell amazing, but it's not worth
it. Don't do it.
Say the biscuits and gravy, like you guys should challenge each other, because I've always said Dallin is the biscuits and gravy connoisseur.
Oh, so
now I need to know.
What do you use for your country base? Is it bacon or pork?
Well, just depends. Sausage, so pork, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, my wife, she cooks bacon, leaves the grease, and then throws the sausage in the bacon grease.
And
that's like her base.
That's how I make it.
Yeah.
That's how I make it when
with the sausage. Yeah.
Yep.
Are we going to
It's really healthy.
It's
It's really good for your heart,
Yeah.
your arteries.
Sounds fantastic.
Beautiful.
But yeah, we'll have road trips planned. And he's like, you know, usually with his family, it's like landmarks. And I'm like, we can eat here. And if we go to this town, we can eat here. And like, that's totally my trip. I don't care what else we're doing.
You got food covered. He's got entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I love ending on that note. Thank you both, Daniel and Bryan, for sitting down with us and taking time and just inspiring our musician listeners and inspiring us. Thanks for what you're doing here at Cali Co.
I think it's important to know that we are pretty open door policy. Send us an email, ask us questions. We might take a few days to get back to you, but we always try to help any way we can.
It's true.
Sure.
That's excellent.
It's
Reach
true.
out.
Yeah, don't
We did
hesitate.
that.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah, we always try to make sure that we're accommodating.
Yeah.
You
So please
absolutely
do, and everybody out there that's listening, guys, come check it out. If you've got a project ready to go, this is the place to get it done.
Cali Co.
Absolutely.
Look up Westward Suns
Oh yeah.
if you want to like have a party and dance and feel good.
Yep.
I'm serious. Like, if you are looking for party music, put Westward Suns on the
If
playlist.
you want to cry, listen to Kaylee Arcaris. If
Yep.
you want to vibe, listen to Kelsey Bridges.
Yeah.
And if you want a mix of all of that, listen to Bryan.
Brian, yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
check out
Feel
Brian.
at home.
It's
He
true.
just
It is
had
kind of all
watched-
over the place, huh?
The in between had me on the
Yep.
way down here.
Oh,
That's a good
yeah.
song.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that
yes.
song.
Yeah,
it's a great song.
We were vibing to that. His
Thanks,
EP,
man.
Watch 'Em Grow, is just going to be your new summer jam. So
Yeah.
look out for
Those
those.
were fun to make. We made those in Nashville.
Yep.
That is awesome. Thank you again so
welcome.
much
Thank
for
you.
your
It's
time,
been really
guys.
cool.